Hey guys, welcome to Double Shot of Steelers. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. It's Friday. It's also the opening day of Picklesburg, which is, for those of you who aren't in town, a really, really big deal. Hey. Don't encourage that. Oh, she's doing the Snoopy boo from, what was it? Which one was that from? I think that was the Christmas one. When he boos? Snoopy boos?
I think so.
You guys know which one I'm talking about. They're all on the stage, everything, and they announced Charlie Brown is going to be the guy. It's definitely Christmas, the Christmas Charlie Brown episode. Jay Moods wants to know what's up, and I'm here for that because Jay Moods, this Friday episode is going to be invested in a subject that everybody else is bringing up, and I'm always like whatevering, and I'm going to continue whatevering this subject. I have a different way of looking at this subject. Okay. It's not TJ's real value vis-a-vis how much they should pay him or could pay him or whether or not, it's not any of that. TJ is going to sign. Nothing changes about this subject. Nothing changes about my stance on this subject. But there's a different way of looking at this that I don't know. I mean, maybe you've considered it, maybe you haven't. But when I look at TJ making, what's the going figure that everybody's throwing around? Is it 40 million? Is that what we're talking about? That TJ would make $40 million per year, or something like that. Jamar Chase is at 40.25. Not that they play the same position or whatever, but TJ would be signing a contract that'll probably be a little bit higher than that. There's a lot of different ways to define it. First off, you can say anything about an NFL contract. Okay, if you want to put together a contract that shows that he's making $40.26 million, just so that he's a hair over the other guy, you can do that and still not have it really mean anything because it won't be guaranteed money. Who's getting the most guaranteed money? Who really stands out in the sense of like term? How long is the contract? There's a lot of different ways that you can hide this, so to speak. Now, not that the player or the agent aren't going to figure that out, but they have some cover. Okay. But here's something else entirely within this. And this is the part that I don't know that everybody's thinking about. Right now, as you and I are talking here, the Steelers can afford this player. And for the most part, they don't really need to spend that money on anybody else. Yeah, we can talk about WR2. We can talk about FS1. I don't think either of those is going to be expensive. And I think both of those are affordable within the cap construct. Also, and very much related, when TJ signs, his cap hit goes down. I know I've shared that a few times here, but just in case anybody hasn't fully processed that, his cap hit for the 2025 season goes down. He is affordable. He fits within this. He fits within it at age 30. He fits within it at age 31, 32, 33. How great is he going to be at age 32 or 33? You can cross that bridge when you get to it. But it's not like it's going to hamstring. It's not like TJ, think about what we're saying here, could ever hamstring this operation or hold the Steelers back in some capacity. This is a truly great, that word gets overused. This time it isn't. A truly great player. If you want to be that individual who judges him on the way the final 4 games went of this past season, and by the way, they went that way for the entire defense, and a lot of the problem there was schematic. You go ahead, just mark it down on a card somewhere, put it on the record so that we can bring it up, I don't know, about halfway into the coming season when TJ's in line yet again for a DPOY. And you're not worrying about whether or not the Steelers spend all of their allotted cap money. because that's all this is about. This isn't coming out of anybody's pocket, symbolically speaking. The money can be had there. Could it have gone to a wide receiver? Could it have gone, or could it go now to a safety? I don't know. 5-year contract. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. That's what I'm saying here. Some things are bigger. Some things are bigger. And don't forget that, as Chris Dolnack points out here, you have a general manager who has just a little bit of background in this whole cap management thing. That can be sorted out. That can be sorted out. TJ's real value is what he does for you now and into the immediate future relative to whether or not the team can pay him. And the team can pay him. And no, Chad, there's no, I didn't even, this is why I was afraid to bring this up, because everyone's going to come in. Oh yeah, is he going to sign or he's not going to sign? That's not the issue here. He's going to sign. This is a different show. If you want to talk about whether or not he's going to sign, you have all kinds of options for shows. TJ is going to sign. When we come back, I am not going to be joined by Chris Halleck, and I'm going to explain why.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
My friends, this live episode of Double Shot is brought to you by Dazzle Sports, where sports memories come to life. You can get your keepsakes professionally custom framed, whether they're sports or personal. If you're looking to browse and buy your next collectible, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. Just go visit dazzle-sports.com. They got so much inventory: cards, modern releases, vintage finds, even protective gear like the top loaders and the sleeves, autographed jerseys, photos, game used items, and a whole heck of a lot more. They support this show, so let's support them right back. Get 20% off your entire order, meaning just those of you watching this, by using the code DOUBLESHOT. That's one word when you get to checkout. That's at www.dazzle-sports.com. My drink is hitting differently these days, and I really just feel compelled to share why. I had somebody do something a little bit different in Seattle. Do you hear how sophisticated I sound when I say that? Yeah, I had my coffee tinkered with in Seattle. Which Starbucks was this?
No, all you had is you said you ordered. There's no somebody tinkered. I just ordered for you.
So what happened? Where did this phone come from?
What I wanted, not what you wanted. And that's
you get the cold phone too? My wife and daughter are here, so I'm getting this is like double-barreled attack here. So this stuff, I don't know what it's called.
Everybody knows about it.
They do?
Like 6 years.
6 years ago?
About it.
Everybody knows about this? I'm that uncool?
Yes.
Anyway, I'm cool enough to have gotten this change in Seattle. And now I get it like this everywhere.
Let's stick to sports.
And it's so good. Chris is not here today because his very mean boss sent him to Atlanta for the weekend to cover Major League Baseball's All-Star game. Chris has done that for us since he's been with us. Chris has a baseball writing background to him. So he went to, I don't remember where the All-Star game was last year, but he went there and just killed it. He just did great coverage, which you would expect from him. So yeah, he got stuck with this again. That's like one problem with when you do a good job washing windows is everybody wants you to wash the windows from then on. So he did a really good job covering baseball's All-Star game. So see you later. This one is in Atlanta. And of course, Paul Skeens will be the Pirates' only rep, and O'Neill Cruz will be in the home run derby. They obviously have a couple of kids in the futures game. Carol says, If TJ didn't want to sign back here, I'm sure he could have found another home by now. Not that simple, Carol. He does have another year on his contract. He wasn't in some sort of spot to go shopping himself or anything like that. Danny, TJ isn't going anywhere. No, he's not. Joseph says, not worry. TJ will sign. Yes, he will. Can we get past this part of the program? Vic says, I remember when TJ got his first sack and Coach T told him, they won't all come that easy. Well, number 90 proved him wrong. That could not be more true. The PEF, who just giving up his nerddom here in public, says, you're cool to me, DK.
Oh, no.
The PEF.
Oh,
Look at my eyes go all starry for the PEF.
He's just kissing.
Damien in all capital letters. Dolly needs a mic. Jay Mood says that Atlanta is fun. That's really not true. Don't say that. All they're doing in Atlanta is leaving Atlanta. That's not. No. Don't get me on some kind of discourse here or whatever. One of the many, many great things about Pittsburgh is we don't have a beltway system and everything, and all roads come through here, and all of our big events like Picklesburgh are here. This is we're still very much a centralized city in that regard. Atlanta, not fun. Matthew says that it was in Texas last year. Oh yeah, that's why I said it, because it was his part of the world, Arlington, Texas. That's right. Peter wants to know, when can we finally talk about the Pirates needing a new GM? I do this every day on the Daily Shot of Pirates. I'm not going to carry it over into the Steelers show. DV points out, and this is true, most podcasts have mics for the behind-the-scenes people. And then he ends it with, heh, heh. That you just got a shake of the head. Even your heh, heh didn't get anything. Mike says, at least 2 first-round picks, probably more. Oh, you're talking about trade value, Mike. He's not getting traded. I'm trying to have a real conversation here about this. The point is that TJ is worth what you're paying him if you can afford him. And they can. And therefore, there's nothing really to look at. If it's 40 or if it's 30, it doesn't matter. Remember this. This is something else about the Steelers' payroll that a lot of people overlook in continuing that particular theme. They haven't paid a quarterback in how long now? And I'm talking about a quarterback at quarterback's rates. Even in Ben's closing days, I think Ben was at 20 or 25. Not that he was running to the poorhouse over that money, but that's half of quarterback money today. They haven't had to have that huge percentage of their overall cap hit go to one position in forever. So it really doesn't matter what they do with the rest of it. It really doesn't. It will if and when they find their franchise kid, or they have to roll out the Brinks truck for Will Howard or Arch Manning or whoever it is that they get in next year's draft. Damien says Atlanta and D.C. are the worst to drive through. I don't consider anything good or bad to drive through. Can you live there? Can you walk around it? That's one of the great things about this place. It's just it's the heartbeat of the entire region. And by that, I'm talking just about downtown, not necessarily the whole city. Micah Pendergrass says, DK, can you break down the salary cap? Is it possible for the team to go over the cap? And if so, what happens? It is not possible for the team to go over the cap. This is not, if you're confusing that with the NBA, I believe that's the only league that has a cap that's got some kind of flexibility to it. The NFL one does not, and the NHL one does not. Here's hoping that Major League Baseball's cap in the future won't have that either. So no, if they do go over it, they have to get under it. That's the best answer that I can give you. That's my breakdown of the cap. Sean Roberts says, what's your projection for the young offensive line this year? I'm not sure what you mean by projection, as in who will start or how they'll do. I think we all know who the 5 starters are. How they'll do, it's going to take a while, Sean. It's going to take a while. They have some issues to settle individually, each of them within themselves. And then from there, they need to become a unit. And it just does not happen quickly. Everybody wants it to. Everybody wishes that it would. Everyone can project that it will. And what does Mike Tomlin like to say on the subjects like this? He said, yeah, I'm not going to seek comfort in that kind of remark here. Chris Parnell says, if TJ demanded $50 million, the Steelers should just give it to him because they have the money available. Maybe Rodgers should have asked for 30. I didn't say that. I'm talking about within the framework of their existing cap structure. You figure it out. They can afford it. The cap actually goes down if TJ, I'm going to keep repeating this because it doesn't seem to necessarily make it into everybody. The cap goes down when he signs this extension. You can get creative. You can backlog it. You can do it in a way that you push back the meat of the cap hit to seasons where the NFL's cap itself continues expanding. Now, does it still affect you? Sure, it does. Does it affect you as much? Nowhere near as much. You just keep, well, you're in this case, you're moving the goalpost as it goes along. So stop getting caught up in the money and the Myles Garrett and the whatever else. This isn't, if you can afford this player, you keep him. They can afford this player, so they will keep him. That's it. It's really, really not more complex than that. Dale says, so a serious question. Then why isn't it done yet? Tell me when these have gotten done before camp. Give me one example of when they've gotten done before camp, Dale. Keep going. Keep going. You're rewinding in your head. You're not going to come up with one. It's not how it happens. Okay? You can go back to Troy's. They just don't have, they happen after there's a camp setting. Now it's the hold-in component. Everybody kind of starts getting on each other's nerves. The headlines start getting a little bit more amped up. And then they get to like the final week, and then the player realizes, and the agent realizes, and the team realizes, and Mike Tomlin starts throwing in these little shots about how it sure would be nice if the player would da-da-da-da-da-da. And they get it done. And the players out there for the final week of practices after Latrobe is done, they get to skip camp. And if you've seen, by the way, videos of TJ working out this summer, you'll know he doesn't need camp. He needs that like a hole in the head. Skip camp, get onto the south side. It's not like anybody needs to teach TJ the scheme or what it is that he needs to do within that scheme. And then they get it done. But in the meantime, something to talk about. Dr. Shadow asks what reporters I looked up to when I was growing up. I have a fairly lengthy list, and I'm gonna narrow it down really to a couple that I've mentioned in the past when this subject comes up. And I'm not sure how many of you are even going to recognize, the first name here, because it's been a while since he worked. That was Bob Hertzl when he was covering the Pirates for the Pittsburgh Press. Hertz, and I've told him this too. Hertz is still around. Hertz is doing stuff in West Virginia now. He also was the official scorer over at the ballpark for many years after his newspaper days. He had a way of taking the game that the Pirates played and turning it into more of a narrative than just they scored, then we scored, and they scored, then we scored. And I really admired that. Now, he was working for an afternoon paper, which means his deadlines were softer, but still, he made an extra effort with every story. From a columnist standpoint, I loved the work that Bruce Kiden did when he was at the Post-Gazette. Told him that before his passing. He had a way of he connected. He connected with his readers. He treated them like they were part of his column, and I really admired that. And then there's, of course, the great Bob Smizek in his years with the Press and the Post-Gazette. Nobody had a finger on the pulse of what people wanted to hear about, what they wanted to debate about. And every once in a while, and Smize under a lie detector test would admit this, he would find a way to say something that he knew would just tick everybody off. And that was before there was a hot takes culture that turned this into some kind of an art. Smize was an original in that one. Ron Cook, great features writer. Christine Brennan of USA Today, a brilliant investigative reporter, features writer. Like I said, I could do this one all day. We're not gonna do that, but there's lots and lots of these that I could do. Peter Baxter says TJ can produce for 2 more solid years. My offer would be 4 years, with the last 2 being option. He's not going to sign that, Peter. He's not going to sign that. Here's something else to remember. You get these players at what you would safely describe as their peak or their early peak at a bargain rate. Well, this is the comeuppance for that. Okay, this is the later in their career. Not that you want to be paying somebody for past performance. In fact, GMs go out of their way to stress that whenever they're getting into arguments with agents. We're not here to pay for past performance. We're paying for future performance. Well, future performance becomes more expensive. And the reason for that is these players do hit the open market, so their value intrinsically goes up. So no, yeah, and this two more years, let's go back and see what the comments were about Cam from, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. Remember, Cam was done. Cam's got a couple more good years in him. Cam was just an all-pro in his mid-30s. The PEF says trading TJ would be saying that we give up on this season, and that's clearly not the case based on the offseason moves. Yeah, there's also the team component. But not that trading TJ is going to happen, okay, or that not signing TJ is going to happen. He'll be in uniform on the 7th of September in the swamps of New Jersey. But he's so important to what they're doing. If you think that you can just take Nick Herbig and slide him to the left side where he really hasn't spent much time, or you could take Alex Highsmith and move him over there where I don't know that he spent any time over there, very, very little, and just say, go get him. Do people understand? Like everyone, does everyone understand that TJ is about so much more than the splash, meaning the sacks and the passes batted and the forced fumbles and everything? TJ is an exceptional edge sealer on the run. Now, I say that and you go, oh, yeah, and Herbig really isn't. Right. So everything that you've been talking about all offseason, stopping the run and all that other stuff, yeah, the PEF is correct. You have a team that's got a whole lot of 1 year feel to it. Aaron Rodgers 1 year, Jalen Ramsey 1 year, Jonnu Smith is, has a year left. These are older guys for the most part. This is you can't do this. That's why this is going to get corrected. I'm really trying to get past this part of the show. Sean says, from my perspective, the fact that they haven't had to sink all that money in a quarterback makes it an even worse reflection that they've been just above average. Yep. I got no quarrel with that. Mark Cunningham says, I'm having a flashback, DK. My daughter and wife used to double team me all the time, but then when she visits, they get back to it quickly. I don't know. My daughter kind of likes me. She definitely likes me more than my wife does. But she's like, she doesn't so much gang up on me or whatever. She likes me. What? John says, I live in Kentucky and I love coming to Pittsburgh. Atlanta, not at all. I'm not here to bash Atlanta. I'm not here to bash the other city that was brought up either. I'm just saying that we have a central feel to everything that we do here. No beltways, no, all the roads lead through downtown, all of our events, all of our stadiums. All of our stadiums and all of our facilities are within a really good baseball throw of each other. Useless Knowledge says, DK, will the offense feel a lot of pressure to protect a Rodgers over a Rudolph? I hope not. When you talk to these guys, and obviously I know one of them really, really well, who do this for a living. Now, Ramon Foster has admitted there's a different feel to when there's Ben Roethlisberger behind you and somebody else. Okay, and Ramon played, I didn't. So Ramon obviously is right, and everything I'm about to say is wrong, probably. But you're lining up against some 300-pound man-eater. Okay, you got Geno Atkins, Calais Campbell, somebody just that's just ready to devour you. lining up across from you. Are you really thinking about the caliber of who's behind you in that moment? I don't know. I have a tough time with that one here. Zach says the one thing that gives me pause with the whole TJ situation is the Steelers trading Minkah. Was it a silent message to TJ? No, you don't trade someone of Minkah's stature because you want to send a message to some other guy to sign a contract at a figure that you can afford. But that's also where we are. It's the 11th of July. We're still a little less than a couple of weeks away from having actual football. What did I just say? Football. Chuck Buchanan says, hopefully Picklesburg is centered around pickleball. It's not, man. It's a food festival. It's one of the best food festivals in the country, according to the people who rank such things. It is a food festival that centers somehow on pickles. And even like the Turner's people, they make a pickle juice version of their iced tea. So everything is pickles. The various restaurants and eateries downtown around us, they also they put some sort of pickle thing on special. So that's actually really cool. It's an amazing, I mean, it draws. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people. They come from all over for this thing. I'm surprised you haven't heard about it, Chuck. Kevin Herzog says, I believe both sides are waiting until the end of camp in order to preserve TJ's health. No, that's just when these things get done. That's all. Nothing else to it. Jonathan says, I think that Alex Highsmith would be the cap casualty when the Steelers get a quarterback, but even that's moot. Nope. Because what happens, the quarterback that you get, the next quarterback, the quarterback who is post Aaron Rodgers, is either going to be Mason Rudolph in some sort of mature role, meaning he's the grand poobah over, let's say, Will Howard and the draft pick, meaning the next draft pick. Or the next quarterback is the draft pick who is going to sign for very little. Or it's going to be Howard, who already signed for very little. And by the time any of that plays out, Highsmith's going to be gone. So this isn't TJ's real value is inside the locker room, Michael says. I respectfully disagree. TJ's real value is on the football field. He is a fantastic football player. He ran into a stretch there that all of them ran into, where a lot of things went wrong, including schematically. Peter says, tinkered with coffee doesn't necessarily grow on trees in the 412. No, we don't have too many coffee trees around here. I think Peter's way behind on the show, which happens sometimes. And then they look at the live chat as we're going through this. John says, let's not forget what the Steelers' record is without TJ in the lineup. Not good. It's actually horrible. He is a difference maker. He is one of the NFL's premier difference makers of the past decade, regardless of position. So I'm not having that debate, even though everybody else still is. I'm just not. Nakia comes in and says, I know this isn't a popular topic, but do you think that they'll let Calvin Austin test free agency next year? Is this a prove it year from him? You know, what's funny? I'm not sure why you would say it's not a popular topic. I mean, it doesn't come up all that often, but it's one that means something to me. I have actually thrown out the possibility that you would go ahead and get Cal extended now, get Cal his second contract now. Because if he makes the leap that I'm hearing from the people who matter on the inside, the people who define this sort of thing on the inside, if he does that, he's going to cost you. And you might not keep him. And he might be able to bring things to your offense that others on that offense can't. Now, we have to see how a lot of different things play out, including when they bring in a WR2. I still believe that's a when and not an if. When they bring this player in, what is that role exactly? How many snaps or targets do they take away from both Cal and Roman Wilson? What if Roman Wilson ascends? Okay, what if he just erupts and you say, all right, well, we've got a guy here, and that costs Cam. But on the other hand, what if Cam does what they right now think he's going to do? I think it'd at least be worth it'd be worth talking about. And I say that mostly because of the other guy that I put in that category, Nakia, was Deshaun Elliott. I wasn't sure what they were going to do with Deshaun. And what do you know? They signed him, and they signed him to a reasonable deal. Really reasonable deal, actually. Just it's worth talking about. There, it's not just TJ that would be looking for an extension here. There are a couple of candidates. Steve says no to pickleball, yes to Picklesburg. I don't know very much about pickleball. No, my daughter doesn't either. It's just like, isn't it like just like racquetball in the air or something? Like with a ball? Oh, it's easier. It's not as easy as team handball, though, is it?
Oh, I walked out of the room for 2 seconds.
She walked out. I get the glare on team handball too. She played team handball. She says it's really hard.
I didn't see that.
Have you guys ever seen team handball?
Like it's not a sport.
No, it's definitely a sport. It's just the easiest sport in the world.
It's not any easier or harder than basketball/soccer because it's a combination.
Oh, you have to use your feet. This is team handball. You grab a ball that's about the size of a grapefruit, a little bit bigger than that.
None of it is real. No, look it up.
And you get to throw the ball against this poor goalie who's standing against the backdrop of this massive net.
Not true.
And they act like it's hard. Like they try to make it look harder by doing these behind the back things or bouncing it for no reason. When all you'd have to do, you have to just roll this thing like it was bowling and you can get it past. I'm trying to get her to come on camera here.
This from the guy who played hockey in shoes.
He did.
Like you took a sport that is
1,000 points on the deck hockey ring.
Made it easier for yourself.
No, I didn't
That
make
is
it.
a joke.
It's its own sport. You think? Do you think the team handball?
Where's deck hockey in the Olympics?
Do you think the team
is a
hand?
joke.
Oh, we're playing the Olympic
This is
card.
a joke.
I see what we're
Worldwide.
doing now.
Worldwide.
They're about to bring flag football into the Olympics for real.
What?
Yeah.
But no
'Cause
deck hockey at any point.
No, we're too good for the Olympics. You're telling me the team handball is harder to play than deck hockey?
Yes.
Oh, geez, no.
You play with a plastic ball on a plastic surface in your volleyball shoes. With
See-
people over 50.
E Grill Boy says handball not being more popular in the United States is crazy. It's a good time and it's easy enough to enjoy casually. See, agrees with me. Easiest thing ever. David Harrison says that team handball is soccer for people with small feet.
Wow. Wow. Really, you guys? This is about to become members only for everybody.
We like this. Steeler Girl says, my husband and I celebrated our 29th anniversary last month. You both sound like us. That's because we celebrated our 29th anniversary yesterday. So we sound like Steeler Girl and her husband out there in Hawaii. Steve asks, can you hold a hot dog and play team handball at the same time?
I think they're picking the wrong person to make enemies with here.
I fully expected them to side with you. I did not see this coming. Yeah.
I think the Olympics thing was a good.
Yeah.
Chris Parnell wants to know if the United States has ever won a medal in team handball. In all seriousness, I don't believe so. There's just not enough participants in our country, as usually the case, because we're well funded. We'll have a program and we'll have enough people there. But there are countries that take it more seriously than others. Lifted One wants to know, DK, what are your realistic expectations for us this season? And I presume the reference here is to the Steelers and not to the National Team Handball Association. I I need to see something. I don't do predictions in general, but even a general feel, I need to see something from this offensive line before I can say anything. And then from there, I need to see rhythm from the offensive line. I just really feel like we're not going to have any kind of sense for this. And by the way, I don't think anybody is. Anybody who's making these predictions based on looking at a roster, even where they're going to finish in the division, you got to see something. You've got to see something. And we're a ways away from seeing that. We're going to take a couple more today. Let's do a couple actual football things since we characteristically went off the rails. Let me see what I can find in the starred here. Now, starred are all just contributions, which are appreciated, but it's they can also come with football questions. I'm going to scroll up here. I'm determined to find another one here. Here's Mark Cunningham saying, DK, lots of chatter about TJ moving around on defense, right? Well, it's more than chatter, to cut you off for a second. It's been openly addressed by Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, and TJ himself. Mark continues, I'm thinking if we blitzed more, we wouldn't have moved him hardly at all. What say you? I don't even know that it needs to be a blitz. I'm a believer that if you can get Derek Harmon and or Keanu Benton to get more effective penetration into the backfield, do a better job of flushing the other team's quarterback out, ideally in one direction or the other, you're creating a whole new world for TJ, and you're creating a whole new environment for the opposing offense. Look at how easy it was to scheme against him, not just because of where he was lined up, but because nothing else was happening schematically. You didn't see, DBs coming up to the line and then backing off. You saw no secondary activity at all near the line of scrimmage. Well, guess what? Now you've got Jalen Ramsey. He can do stuff if you put him up there. And if you put him up there as a slot guy and he's already in the general vicinity, that's pretty cool. Damian says here, I think Harmon's going to feast because of all the attention to TJ. That's what's been needed here, and that's the storyline that's been missing from what happened to the Steelers over the past 4 or 5 games. It was not just that TJ got shut down. It's that we all got over-reliant on TJ making all of the plays. And when he didn't, it was like, where's TJ? What are we paying him for? Pittsburgh fan says the entire season is pretty much based on the offensive line. It is. It is. At least at the foundation of it. It really is. Raina says, how much did the Steelers actually change at offensive line? And if she's bringing that up cynically, I'm a buyer. They didn't change anything. Dan Moore left and Troy Fautanu got healthy. Nothing was changed about the coaching, the instruction, or anything. So we can say things like, oh, it's do or die for Broderick Jones, or it's really time for, the rest of these guys, the year 2 guys to rise up the way Tomlin's going to challenge them and everybody in the year 2 thing. But nothing was actually done. And it's so important. Jeff Rossi says, hey, DK, could WR2 be an in-season acquisition? I sure hope not. We saw how that went. Mike Williams shows up, catches the game-winning deep ball touchdown in Landover, and still gets buried. I want somebody who they allow to get on the moving train before the season gets going here. Greg Haas does our research for us and says no medals in the Olympics for the team handball, but the men did win gold in the 87 Pan Am Games. Peter Lash with 11 huge goals. I'll bet all of them were so easy. Like, have you ever seen a breakaway in team handball? Got to watch it back there. Like a breakaway. Like the goalie just kind of puts his hands in his pocket and waits, All right, she's coming closer. I got it. When we come back, look at the glare. Look, you see the glare back there? Look at that. What's he up to? Look at that. Is he talking about team handball again? When we come back on this fine program, sometimes we will take care of a little bit of business here at Double Shot of Steelers. The real question about team handballs, why do they pass it? You could pretty much just throw it at the net from anywhere. You know, I think they pass it around. Like you get it in water polo. You watch them pass it around. They're legitimately, they're trying to find a really good look at the net. There's all kinds of things that are happening to you in water polo. It's really hard. And in addition to, you might drown and there's people kicking you in the privates, beneath the surface level. But in this sport, just throw it, you got a really, really good chance of it going in. Carol says, whispering won't help you. Wives can always hear you. This is true. Did you notice? I really wasn't very loud at all. Now they're both looking. Look at that. What is that? Now she's coming in this direction to see what I'm talking about. Oh, no, she's actually doing work and ignoring me, which is actually the default mode. David says, imagine Paul Skeens in team handball. Skeens could score from literally anywhere on the handball court. He'd never have to pass. He could just get the ball, the grapefruit thing, and throw it all the way across. All the way across. Raina says, water polo is so sad. I hate that they make the horses swim. That would only have been funny if Norm Macdonald said it. And I tried to give you the Norm Macdonald when he would do that after telling a joke, and he would just hold the pose for the longest time here. John Malesko says DK is going to be on the couch using 3XL Pickett jerseys as blankets. We still have them, people. If you come down to Picklesburgh, you can stop here at 224 Fifth Avenue. We're right around the corner from Market Square, which is part of the Picklesburgh thing. Just make one quick right turn coming out of Market Square on McMaster's Way, and we're pretty much hitting you in the face here. Come in and say hello. Norm reference says, Peter, I've got Norm references all day. I'm going to do the moth joke one of these days. Yeah, David Harrison says, I'm 3XL. I will pay shipping. Yeah, she doesn't like shipping. You have to come down here and get it. Carol says you should ship the Pickett jerseys to Cleveland. No. Norm is sorely missed, says the PEF. This is accurate. Miss that dude, says Jay Moods. Yeah, we should do a members only Norm show where we all just trade Norm jokes. The clean ones. There are some. All right, let's take care of business. Important stuff here. Antonio Jackson's been a member of this family for 26 months. Always appreciated. Fishing for trout drops a gift on us here. Captain Crunch drops 5. Mike in Texas drops 10. In addition to a really good early question for us here, Sarah comes in with a $5 contribution. That's appreciated, Sarah. I only say it in that tone because anytime there's a fairly new name or one that I don't say as often, it's you get a little special inflection on that. Peter also came in with $5. Appreciate all you guys. I don't know that Chris will not be back here on Monday. I'm not sure if we'll be able to pull off a show with him in Atlanta, and I would just do it myself in that event. For anybody who arrived late, Chris is heading to Atlanta to cover Major League Baseball's All-Star Game for DK Pittsburgh Sports. And we will be back with all new programming next Monday. Appreciate you guys for real. Talk to you then.